Joining us now on the phone is the president of the World Boxing Council, Mauricio Sulaiman. How are you, sir?
Fine, fine. Thank you so much. How are you doing?
We're doing good. We're doing good. So there's a lot going on right
Mm.
now, but I kind of wanted to lead with a story that we're a little bit uncomfortable covering. This Tyson Fury Anthony Joshua fight is getting a lot of weird publicity from a quote organized crime figure. It's all over the news. What's going on?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Uh, I, I, since we have had this pandemic flourish, I have chosen to keep a very clean mental health, and to do that, I avoid anything that creates anxiety to enter my mind. So I don't really watch news. I don't really follow much of what goes on unless it's something positive, unless it's something that inspires me. So I choose not to get involved in gossip, not to get involved in whatever is not official. And I have just seen a few comments regarding some problems of persons and and the implications of several things. But as I say, I have followed very little, and I have no interest in getting into what is not for the betterment of the sport.
Well, I guess the only question that we care about on a boxing show do you think this fight's going to actually happen next year?
Well, there's a great interest, of course, for a heavyweight unification bout. Joshua has been a fighter who has reigned the ring for several years. Tyson Fury is a fighter that has been highly regarded for several years. Both are from the UK, and it creates a very interesting story. However, there are many things that are in the middle of a fight, Fury Joshua, before that can be considered. So it's a speculation. They have come out and said that they have a deal that's very good, but many things have to be in the middle resolved before the fight actually takes place.
Including the Deontay Wilder rematch.
Yes, the position of the WBC has been very clear for months. We right now we don't know when boxing is going to resume for some specific fights, like the rematch between Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. So we don't know if that fight will take place in October, November, December next year. We cannot control that. For the WBC, there's a legal contract that they signed for a third fight, and then for the WBC is a mandatory title defense that the champion has to make. So, as I said, there are a few things in the timeline, and I like to to consider the many great fights in the heavyweight division that can be made. We all have to feel very excited about that.
So if Tyson Fury defeats Deontay Wilder, he would still have to take one. He would still have to have a mandatory before he could fight Anthony Joshua. Is what you're saying?
Yeah, the ruling of the WBC is public, and we have had countless meetings, and the situation of the mandatory title defense has been discussed for a long time, and it is all public. So the mandatory challenger is the interim champion, Dylan White, and he has rights to enforce after the Wilder versus Fury third fight.
Curtis, you wanted to ask a question about Dylan White.
Reading things about Dylan White petitioning to try to stop the Wilder Fury 3, saying he's been waiting too long. I mean, like, I think he was trying to file court proceedings or something like that. Can you elaborate on that? Like, is that even remotely possible?
in this world, everything is possible, and everything is impossible at the same time. Uh, we're living in a crazy world. Unfortunately, I have to say regarding Dylan White, no comment because we are in the middle of the legal proceedings.
Well, bringing it now to current events, you're the Top Rank returned to boxing last week, and I noticed all the fighters were getting a WBC medal. Could you tell us a little bit about your involvement in boxing's return?
Yes, we are a global organization. We represent the voice of boxing, and to see boxing back is something very special. So we are presenting a medal, a commemorative medal of COVID-19 to each fighter that comes back to the ring, and we feel appropriate to give a token of recognition to those who have been training and have the opportunity to go into the ring and fight. So we feel proud. It's just a little recognition to all of them, and the kids feel very happy to receive a medal. Win or lose, you get your commemorative medal, and it's just something to add. We created a protocol, medical and administrative protocol, and we shared it with all boxing commissions, all promoters, hoping it can help anyone who wants to promote boxing now without fans. And we are just actively reaching out to offer help in any way, form, or manner that we can provide for any member of the boxing industry.
Well, I mean, that's interesting. Can you tell us a little bit, elaborate a little bit about if, say, I'm a local promoter here and I want to put on a fight with no fans, how can the WBC help me?
Well, we have this protocol that can give you guidelines on what can be done to present a safe event. These guidelines are being used now in Mexico. And I know Nevada has their own guidelines, and California and other states in the USA, the UK. Everybody has their own guidelines. We share them in hopes of being of help. We are also working on trying to create a form. You know, the problem here is for boxing in the low level. A promoter who has a TV deal, who has a sponsor, can now freely open and start promoting. But all those small promotions that rely on ticket sales are in trouble right now, because if they cannot sell tickets, then they cannot promote. We are trying to establish some format. It has started already in Mexico, where we look for fans, for sponsors, or even promoters to help small promotions. So I know friends who have gone to great fights in Las Vegas and they love boxing. So what we tell them is there's going to be a 4-fight card of 4 rounders. Please sponsor one of the fights. So what they do, they pay for the person of both fighters. They are like the godfathers of the fight. And it's a series that will start picking up, and it can be open to any country. What we really want to see is the fighters, the 4-rounders, 6-rounders, who do not have the TV contract, to also be able to have activity in the return of boxing.
Interesting. But I have a question for you regarding drug testing, because I've been seeing over this past year, even though the pandemic's been going on, like the NBA and the NFL, they're like no longer testing for marijuana, and like guys are being reinstated that were like banned for like marijuana use. like, how does that play? Does that play any part with like the WBC and anything as far as that goes?
Are you referring to marijuana testing exclusively?
Yes, yes, marijuana testing exclusively
Or drug
because
testing,
like
or
the
drug testing.
NFL, the NBA, they're
I mean, we're all drug
yeah.
testing. It
But I
doesn't have to
mean,
just be
like you see a
marijuana.
lot of guys promoting the weed. A lot of guys are promoting weed now, like Mike Tyson, Shannon Briggs. Those guys are like getting involved with cannabis.
Well, the WBC can't
Like,
get
would
involved with
that
that,
have?
Curtis.
No, I understand that. I'm saying like, is like, what if? I mean, do you guys like consider like not testing for marijuana anymore? That was just a
Well,
question.
Or would that
the
be a state
Just
issue?
throwing
WBC,
out.
That would be a state issue, wouldn't that?
the WBC, as you may know, we have the clean boxing program. It is
Mm.
a out of competition random testing, which is mandatory enrollment for the champion and the first 15 ranked fighters. And this program is conducted by VADA, and we have had great success. It has been a very uh, important program for PEDs and every type of process and products that any fighter could use to have performance enhanced. Tomorrow we're going to have a special edition of the WBC Talk. It's going to be a Zoom meeting, and we're going to have Dr. Margaret Goodman and Dr. Eichmann present, and we're going to thoroughly discuss everything that has to do with the clean boxing program, including the testing of cannabis and marijuana. So I invite you to watch this program. We're going to make a special release tomorrow, and I think it's one of the most important topics out there.
Well,
Yes, because
keeping on that topic, what about have you been testing, or are they retesting now for steroids now that the pandemic, things are starting to open up?
What happened? The WBC suspended the clean boxing program during the month of March and part of April.
So it's been
Why?
going on.
Because our program relies on transparency and honorability. We could not put the doping collectors out in the street, and we could not put the fighters at risk, having outsiders coming to the home, to the families to do the drug testing. So we suspended the program. We made it public for the transparency. But now we are back testing. We have done an important amount of tests in June and May all over the world. So the clean boxing program is back, and we're fully at full speed making the proper tests under the clean boxing program.
Curtis,
beautiful, beautiful. I think that's beautiful. Everything's starting to get back
Thank you.
into rotation. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful thing because I've been missing boxing. I know we all have been missing boxing a lot.
Oh, and you know, we had a top rank having two ESPN shows last week, and now it's going to be a continuous Tuesday and Thursday fight. Mexico City has the first card this Saturday on the 20th. So this is something very exciting now.
and the other promoters are going to start announcing fights as well, I assume.
I assume yes. I know Japan, England will start in July. That's a fact. And I have communications from many promoters all over the place, communicating that they're ready to continue and begin the boxing activity.
But will we see any big fights in the next couple of months, or is it just going to be a lot of lower level fights that are more, inexpensive to make because of the lack of ticket
I am
sales?
sure. I'm sure world title fights will start by the end of July or beginning of August. I am certain of that. I'm very positive about that.
And have you been dealing directly with the states as far as some of these events like Nevada or California?
Could you please
Like
ask the question again?
have you been dealing with the commissions directly in regards to them starting boxing back up in these states? Or is
Yeah, I've been in communications with the commission, and I know Nevada and California. They have been very busy training officials, creating the protocols, and just putting all the specifics for boxing to come back into activity. Um,
I
these
guess
are honorable commissions, hardworking, and ready to make it happen.
I guess the question we want to know is when will Curtis and I be able to go back to the Barclays Center to watch boxing?
Well, I expect by the fall. I hope that October, November, we can go back to the fights with public.
But would New York be considered doing these fights with no fans because they haven't said anything?
I don't have any news about New York. I know that, for example, the Mohegan Sun is ready to do events without public, which is near New York. It's in Connecticut.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they're working diligently to secure the activity of our sport.
So I got a question. This is like a funny question. Have you been to any of the fights that's been going on in Vegas at all?
They've only had two.
Yeah, they only have had two.
Yeah,
And
they had two fights, but like I was gonna ask.
I wish I
you,
had been in Las
logged
Vegas
in on
last
the
week.
ESPN mic'd up. No, the ESPN
Yes,
mic'd up where you could scream in the house and it plays in the arena. I want to know if you log on and scream through your TV at the fight?
Yeah, I don't think he did, Curtis.
No, I've been here. I've been home in Mexico so far.
Well,
Okay.
I've got a question for you, Mauricio. So there's been a lot of talk recently about Claressa Shields possibly fighting Layla Ali, and Layla hasn't boxed in, I mean, I don't know how many years. Could she really just come in and just box her, or is this just like fantasy talk?
Layla is one of a kind fighter. She retired undefeated, unchallenged, never had a medical issue, medical problem. So I am certain that she can apply for medical testing and for medical boxer's license. I wouldn't see that as a major issue. I would recommend if she comes back to do a tune-up fight to feel how she's back into the sport. But I think she's one of those special athletes that can certainly be competitive at any moment. As you say, she must not. I'm not sure when she retired. Maybe 10 years ago.
Yeah. So if she was to get a
Not
boxing
sure about
license,
that.
if she was to get a boxing license tomorrow, and pass all the tests, you would have no problem with her fighting for the belt. If she said, "I don't want a tune-up fight, I want to fight Claressa Shields right now."
If it's my personal opinion, Mauricio Sulaiman,
Yes, your personal opinion.
I would say yes. Yes, absolutely. Of course, we have to go through the WC Board of Governors. She would have to do a thorough medical and get a license. But you have to look at the specific case of herself. She was never in any. She just retired out of not having any more competition and decided to have a family. So, but she's a tremendous athlete and she's an icon of the sport.
Curtis, you have any follow-ups on the Claressa Shields fight?
Ooh, no, I mean, it's very.
It might
very
actually happen.
entertaining. I hope that actually.
It could actually happen.
I hope that actually happens. I would love to see that fight.
I don't know anything else to
I would
say.
love to see that fight. Nobody would love more to see that fight than me.
Claressa is the image of boxing today, and they've been going at it. And I had Laila in a WBC Talk, the program we do, and I also had Claressa. So there are two specific special women in our sport.
Mm.
So Curtis wants to ask you about Mike Tyson's comeback. Is this real? Is this just hype? I mean, you've made some comments about this in the media in the past, so I kind of wanted to ask you.
I saw a clipping on social media, just as you all did. 10 seconds, Mike Tyson hitting the pad, and the world went crazy. Everybody went crazy about Mike Tyson. Then you start seeing how he has changed his life, and all because of boxing. Because of boxing, he came back and be happy and be healthy. So how can we go against something that is a proposed exhibition in which he intends to do an exhibition with headgear and for charity? I think the press loves to speculate about him coming back and getting a world title shot and this and that. The way it is right now, it's an idea of exhibition for charity, and we will fully support that because Mike Tyson is one of the greatest icons of the sport, and he's doing this for charity without any risk whatsoever.
Mm-hmm. That's just Mike Tyson. Like, can you elaborate on like your Mike Tyson experience? Like when I mean I know you were your father was in charge then, but like when coming up when he was the WBC champion, like can you elaborate on like how that?
You have any good stories? I guess you want to know if you have any good stories.
You have any good stories?
Yes.
Basically.
Oh yes, I have plenty. I was going to high school in Massachusetts. He was close to Thanksgiving holiday, and a good friend of mine said, "Okay, come with me with my family." So I told my father I was not coming back to Mexico. I was staying, and just a day before the break, he calls me and says, he tells me, "I'm sorry, you cannot come to my house because my parents we are going somewhere else." So I call my dad desperately, and my father is in Las Vegas. So he says, "Okay, I'll put you a flight from Boston to Vegas. Come meet me." So I fly over there, and it turns out that it's Mike Tyson versus Trevor Berbick fight when he conquered the title. So I met Mike Tyson at the weigh-in. Then I spent time with him after the fight. Then saw him a couple of other times in fights. Then he came to Mexico City. And I'm just going to tell you one story. We were having dinner. It was the third night straight. We had dinner in Mexico. My father, Don King, and all the rest of the group of Don King. So Mike says to me, "Look, I'm so tired of being with all men. Your father and Don King, I'm tired to be with them. And we just go out and have fun." So I said, "Absolutely, yes." So we sneaked out of the restaurant, and while we're walking on the street, kids come out and see Mike Tyson, poor kids from the street, and they start gathering around him. And what he does, he tells them, "Hey, come." He brings them into a store and buys them all tennis shoes and gives each $100 bill. That's the Mike Tyson that I know. Mike Tyson is a sensational human being. He's a victim of society. When he was so powerful, so famous. He had to suffer many uh, terrible situations that ended up in what the end became his downfall. But as a human being, he's sensational. He's shy. He's just funny. He's caring. He's a very nice person that he deserves all the good faith. When you don't know him, when you just see and you read things, you can just label a person. But what I can tell you is that Mike Tyson is a sensational human being. And we had lots of fun in Mexico many times. He was always respectful to everyone, to women, to men, to kids. He was always specifically very caring for others, and never I saw him behave in a negative manner. So all I can say is Mike Tyson is very dear to the WC, to the Sulaiman family, and we have so many stories that it's very just fun to talk about here.
Well, speaking of stories, this is the 50th anniversary of Ali Frazier, and the WBC I know has some interesting stuff planned with in conjunction with this.
Yes. We are doing 2021 is going to be named the year of boxing. This pandemic has hurt everyone. So this year, in a way, has been almost lost. We're going to dedicate 21 to celebrate boxing. Precisely March 8th of next year is the 50th anniversary of Ali Frazier. It's also the 100-year anniversary of Sugar Ray Robinson. It's the 100-year of the first ever $1 million gate. Bob Arum and Don King will be 90 years old next year. So there's many celebrations that we're going to stack up and make sure that the world celebrates during 2021.
Well, let me ask you, will the year of boxing include Manny Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather, and Canelo Alvarez?
Fighting each other, you mean?
Not each other, but will all three of them, do you think, will be fighting? There's been, Floyd's been teasing a rematch, a return. Will Pacquiao fight again? And, everyone always wants to know what Canelo is going to do.
Well, Canelo for sure, he should be fighting. Manny Pacquiao, still active. I'm sure he could be fighting. And Floyd, you never know. Floyd is timeless. Floyd is someone who can come back at any time and be competitive. He's an unbelievable, unique fighter who deserves all recognition as one of the greatest ever.
No, for sure.
Yeah, because I think Larry's referring to the Zab Judah was on Instagram Live, and Floyd Mayweather chimed in on his Instagram Live, and Floyd Mayweather talked about he has a couple of things lined up for next year, end of this year, next year. A couple of fights lined up overseas, exhibitions or something like that of that nature.
The WBC wouldn't oversee an exhibition, I assume.
No, I mean, you never know.
No,
like you said, you
We
never
don't know.
Floyd.
We don't know. We're just hopeful.
We don't know Floyd. Yeah,
Floyd might change his mind anytime.
do you think Manny Pacquiao might actually run for president?
I am sure he's going to run for president, and I'm sure he's going to win.
Could you imagine that? One of the best boxers of our generation, the president of a major country?
Can you imagine? That would be... Well, you have Vitaly Klitschko, who is the mayor of Kiev, the capital of Ukraine. That's very important. But to have the president of a country from boxing, that would be unbelievable. That would be sensational.
That would be out of this world.
Out of this world, yes.
Definitely out of this world. Definitely.
Well, Mauricio, I wanted to finish up today and ask you about the WBC's involvement with the protocols for opening up boxing gyms. I know that affects Curtis personally because he is a trainer over at Gleasons.
Yes, we have been diligently working on a protocol, and it is very simple. It has some guidelines on how to clean, how to just make sure there are protocols in place for the activity, and we just believe that
When you say
fighters.
protocols, what do you mean exactly?
A protocol means
How's Gleason's
on
going to be
how
different? I guess that should be my question.
well Gleason. It's a it's it's the life of many. Of when you start your day and you go to Gleason, it changes your day, and then you go on and do something else. Gleason, basically, the protocol is on how to maintain, how to clean, what each individual has to do before, during, and after the training session. It's just basic protocols on cleanliness, and I'm sorry, I lost my word in English, but just basic to be clean and to be consistent in making sure that the safety prevails.
Interesting. Because I was hearing a lot about like the gyms like not being able to like have sparring right away, limiting like when people get power, 2 people in the ring at a time, and stuff like that of that nature. I was hearing a whole bunch of stuff about the gym. I mean, I've been affected like personally with this because I actually train fighters and stuff like that, and I haven't been able to train anybody.
It's
Hello?
something that we all need to get back to the activity. That's a fact, and it also has to do with many rules and regulations and laws from the different countries of the world.
Yeah, we weren't prepared for this.
Absolutely not.
Well, I mean, like, what kind of guidance can you give Curtis? Like I said, he's a trainer at Gleason's Gym. He's had the misfortune of training me, but he's actually trained some real fighters. What would you what kind of advice will you give Curtis when Gleason's opens hopefully next month, and he can go back to work?
Well, basically, what you have to do as a trainer is make sure that your fighters follow such protocol. So basically, it is to the clothing that you wear, the distancing between the exercises. It is all a complex document, but it's very simple, and we have worked it with Gleason, so you have it available, and basically it is just a set of guidelines that need to be implemented and conducted to keep as safe as possible all the activities.
Interesting. Can't wait till this gym opens back up. I won't say that. I will say that. Definitely need to get everything back rolling. Because, like, another guy, he's from the gym. He's fighting on the top rank card, Mikel Lipanias, and he's been, like, training in the park. And, he's been using, like, a tree as a heavy bag, like, wrapped around, like, seriously, he, like, had, like, the belly pad, like, the chest protector. I mean, you know, that it's used for the punching. And he's wrapped it around the tree, and he's hitting the tree. He's hitting the tree in the park. Getting ready for this fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's desperate. Everybody wants to, fighters have not been able to train properly, but we have to be patient. We've gone so far to throw it all out, so have to be patient. Continue to be very careful, and we are defeating this thing. So keep on doing what we've been doing, keeping faith, keeping staying home when needed, and I'm sure things will soon be absolutely back to normal.
That's all we can hope for, right?
So we can hope for.
That's
God
what we
help
can
us.
hope for. Yeah. Yeah.
In other news, I see you guys reinstated Franchise Cruz back to, designated back to champion.
Yes. She's back as the champion, and Jimenez will do a suspension until October. Then we'll have a year probation. They might probably fight each other, or they might see each other later next year, whatever. But I'm happy Franchon is a very dear friend of WBC, a sensational fighter. It is unfortunate that there was a controversy. It was a great fight, one of the best female fights in a long time. So we have just to keep doing what we're doing, and the clean boxing program will work.
You know, after that fight, she actually ended up selling wigs. She had the hair problem. She actually ended up like marketing and selling wigs and stuff like that.
Wigs and
That was
T-shirts.
Cool, yeah, she started selling like hair.
Yeah.
She had the hair problem and stuff. So she ended up capitalizing off that and actually selling hair and stuff like that.
Oh, she's more famous now because of it.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
And she's no shot. She make no doubt about it.
Oh, that's great. Mauricio, thank you so much for talking to us today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Thank you so very much. It's been very much fun, and I look forward to seeing you in the near future when I visit the City of Light.
I can't wait to be back myself. Thank you again. I appreciate it.
I'm actually
God
going to
bless.
be.
Thank you so much.
I'm
Thank you.
actually going to be in Mexico. I'm actually going to be in Mexico July 8th.
We'll have a big party.
Great. Mexico City?
Yeah. But,
Are you coming to Mexico
I think
City?
Cancun or something.
Oh,
No,
okay.
Cancun.
Cancun is beautiful.
Cancun sounds like
You're gonna have lots of fun.
My
I wish I was doing that.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mauricio, we'll let you go. Thank you very much. It was a lot of fun talking to you tonight.
Thank you so much. Take care.
You too. Goodbye.
All right.
Bye-bye.